Hello there everyone, and welcome to another Uchu Sentai Kyuranger review video. This is a look at the Cerberus Voyager, or the Cerberus Voyager, depending on whether you are using the English pronunciation or the Japanese pronunciation, and in this case, Cerberus is the Japanese pronunciation. I'm not quite sure why Japan tends to use the K sound anytime they use the letter C, even when it's supposed to be used with the S sound. But regardless, this is the Cerberus Voyager. This is the movie exclusive Voyager, and I have not seen this. Well, I've not seen the movie on Kyuranger. I have only seen the main episodes, and I've not been able to find the movie in any sort of way, so I have no idea about the backstory in regards to this Voyager, and I also have no idea about where it was found or anything else like that, and I highly doubt that they will actually bring this into Power Rangers when they finally decide to adapt Uchu Sentai Kyuranger into the series. I just have my doubts that it will be included when they get that season adapted, because while it's the movie exclusive mech, and as far as I know, there was a movie exclusive mech in Ninja, which was adapted into Ninja Steel, and that ended up getting unadapted. Well, at least the footage from the movie was, but they did still use the villain, I believe. I think Count Draken was from the Ninja movie, but I think he only appeared in American footage when they did Dimensions in Danger. But anyway, I figured that for the sake of the completion of the collection of the Kyuranger Voyagers, I would include this in my collection of Uchu Sentai Kyuranger merchandise. So anyway, as I said, I don't have very much information about this Voyager story-wise, but I will give you some details in regards to the Voyager itself. Now, as the name implies, it is supposed to be based on the three-headed dog called Cerberus, and it's quite interesting. This Voyager has three different heads. This one here looks like a bulldog, and this one, well, I'm not quite sure what the other ones are supposed to represent. I know that I've seen other people's reviews, and they describe what they're supposed to be. Like, I think one's supposed to be a husky. I'm not entirely sure. And the mouths do open up like that. This one doesn't open up very much because it's basically the same as the Shishi Voyager, where the mouth will not open up unless you rotate it to form the main mech, which we will do in a moment. Now, each of them have different colored eyes. The left head, well, viewer right, but from this perspective, it would be left. This one has the kind of goldish eyes, actually. I would say yellow, but it's more goldish in comparison. And this one has the green eyes. And the center one has red eyes, as you can see there. So there's that right there. Now, as far as this mech is concerned, it is basically a repaint of the Shishi Voyager, which I have right here. Yeah, you see they have the same sort of body style, you know, the same jets on the side, and the same rotatable head. Well, it's not the same head, but they do both rotate the same way. It's just basically using the same mold as the Shishi Voyager and then just sticking on a new head. That's basically what the Cerberus Voyager is. Just the same mech, but a new head. And the funny thing here is that the head was actually already attached when I got this out of the box, unlike with the Shishi Voyager. Now, included in this is the Cerberus Q-Tama, and this shows the three dog heads. and also the number 111. As far as I know, that's supposed to be the sound of dogs barking 111, because I think that the Japanese pronunciation of 1 is supposed to be R, like R, the sound that dogs make. I could be wrong, but that's just my guess of it anyway, because I don't really know Japanese all that well. And it does also have some lights and sound effects, which I will show in a moment, but first I'm going to show you the combination, which I believe is called Cerberus. So let's get into that. Now, Cerberus, much like with Kyuranger, can use any arm/leg Voyagers for the arms and the legs, but the box advertises you to use the Chameleon Voyager, the Kajiki Voyager, the Oshi Voyager, and the Hibechigai Voyager. That's basically almost all of the original Voyagers, except for the Okami Voyager, and instead we got the Hibechigai Voyager. I guess they just wanted to give us an advertisement that didn't involve around using another blue-colored mech, because the Cerberus Voyager is already blue to begin with. It's actually kind of a teal color, kind of a greenish blue. So anyway, for this, the legs pretty much attach the same way. So you just put that on just like that. And, you know, if you've seen my earlier reviews, you pretty much know how this works. There you have it. Let me adjust the camera to make sure that the entire thing is in the shot. Hopefully I can do that. Alright. And there's that right there. Now we rotate the heads down this way, because this is how you do it for when this formation is made. And then I open up the mouth right here, which reveals the face. You see the face? That is it. Now, the extraordinary thing here in regards to putting the arms on is the fact that the outer two heads actually serve as like Q-Tamas themselves. They are removable, however, which pretty much gives you two options on how you can have the arms be attached. You can either take these off and just use the same old Q-Tama as the Voyagers have, or you can leave them on and take off the Q-Tamas that the Voyagers already got. So we just take this Q-Tama off, put that on, and there you go. That there is the official combination of Cerberus. I really wonder as to how Hammy and Spada felt when they didn't even get to participate in this mech battle, even though their Voyagers had. And now to do a little comparison, I do have some other Voyagers to attach to Kyuranger, so I will get that set up real quickly. I'm working on it off screen, by the way. Let me get the arms on. And there you go. So when comparing these two, you can see that they are basically the same size and the same height. They both have the same rotations. And that's pretty much all there is. I just thought I'd assemble Kyuranger right here to do a little side-by-side comparison. Alright, so now with Cerberus, you push on this button right here. Oh wait, I didn't turn it on. Yeah, it says that. I will push the button now, to show you the different effects.
Cerberus Voyager. Cerberus. Cerberus Voyager. Cerberus.
And that's basically the sounds that the Cerberus Voyager makes. Now here is a different combination that I have come up with, which I think is much more fitting with the color scheme of the Cerberus Voyager. And that is simply using the Okami and Koguma Voyagers as the legs, since they are both blue. Nearly matches the color scheme. And for the arms, I use the Tenbin Voyager and the Orion Voyager, which is primarily used on the Orion Battler. Now, when it comes to using the different Voyagers on, well, for all of the different mech combinations, if you want to make all of them, you know, Kyurano, Ryuteo, the Ho-Ho, Gingat Ho-Oh, the Orion Battler, and the Cerberus. Well, the thing here is, unless you have two of the same mech, you can't. Because there would be one mech missing. And you would just not be able to create such... Well, you would not be able to have all of them connected... well, you would not have them all be assembled at the same time. Now, a possible solution that you have is you could maybe just have the Kojishi Voyager serve as, you know, another arm for Cerberus. But the problem here is that, well, for one thing, it's not really meant to be an arm. And even if you have, yeah, the whole thing, it does not work out well, and that happens. It just comes off easily. However, that's not the only issue that the Cerberus Voyager has. You know how you can do those different combinations with attaching the Washi Voyager to the back of Kyurano, and also be able to form Q Tamazine, and be able to attach the Kojishi Voyager on to the back right there? Well, with the Cerberus, with Cerberus, you can't. And here's why. You know those pegs that are on the back of Kyurano? I will show you that right there. With Cerberus, you don't have that. They are just blocked off. Now, something you could do is actually take these out and put in those connection points. But, you know, you'd be sacrificing a Shishi Voyager by doing that. And I am not going to be doing that. I suppose that Bandai wanted to restrict the usages of being able to do a lot of things with the Cerberus Voyager. But I personally think that they should have just left the pegs in there. Even if it was not, even if they didn't use it at any point in the, in the show, or even in the movie that this mech appears in. They could have just left those in so that people could create non-canon combinations. That's not to say that you can't do that, though. You can still do somewhat of different things in creating various different combinations with the Cerberus Voyager. I'll give one example. Here, for example, I have built up Q Tamazine using the Cerberus Voyager, and pretty much this is as far as you're going to go if you make this combination, because, you know, the sections where the connection points are supposed to connect to, there's no way to connect the rest of the the Ho-Ho Voyager to the back. So this is as far as you're going to get unless you actually add your own pegs to the back. Although it's not a bad combination, even if it is incomplete because of certain missing connection points. But, you know, that is pretty much how far you're going to get with making, I guess you could say, Q-Tama Cerberus, maybe? I'm not quite sure what a good enough name would be. So that right there is the Cerberus Voyager, or Cerberus Voyager, however you want to pronounce it. It certainly is actually quite an interesting and impressive looking mech to include in your Uchu Sentai Kyuranger collection. I certainly think that it was a very worthy buy. And it's also good that you are able to remove these, so you can actually use the actual Q-Tamas rather than just taking them off. But, you know, without them, it just does not look the same as when you have them with them. I mean, do it like this, it just looks like the Shishi Voyager all over again. Even more so than before. Another thing to also point out is that on the Shishi Voyager, you would have lights in these sections right here and on the legs. But with the Cerberus Voyager, you do not have those. And I think that the reason for that is because at default, the shoulder ones would be covered up, so there would be no light coming through them. So they only had the center with the sound effects. As I said, I really doubt that this is going to appear in the Kyuranger adaptation, but, you know, I just thought that it would be a nice thing to get anyway, and, you know, have part of the collection, since I have the Japanese collection of these toys, as the American ones don't yet exist. But hopefully, by 2021, let's hope that we do finally get an adaptation of Uchu Sentai Kyuranger. Hopefully, Hasbro will realize that a number of fans want Kyuranger to be adapted. And I'm going to point out right now, for people that have their doubts that adapting Kyuranger will be a good idea, here's the thing. Well, for one thing, there's the Q-Lat wheel, so that should take care of how many Rangers appear per episode. For another thing, it's space-themed. How can a season that is space-themed go down? And for another thing, even with the large cast, it's not going to kill the show. I promise you that. At least it shouldn't, anyway. But, you know, let's just continue to pray and hope that they do get around to adapting Kyuranger eventually. I would encourage you to write to Hasbro and tell them your thoughts in regards to why Kyuranger should be adapted, just as I have. And hopefully we can get the word out, and by 2021, well, not this mech, possibly anyway, but the majority of Uchu Sentai Kyuranger should make its way to American television by 2021. Now, as far as I know, I think that they have started filming the second season of Beast Morphers, which, as of the time of the recording of this video, they have not actually announced yet, or at least they have not announced what season it's going to be. Probably going to be called Super Beast Morphers, although some people doubt that it's going to be called that, but I think that it is going to be called that. And I am also quite certain that Beast Morphers is going to be the last time that we will get a super season, and then starting from the season that we get in 2021, which again I hope is the Kyuranger adaptation, we go back to doing a whole series within a single year like we had done up until RPM. And of course I'm counting each of the 3 seasons of Mighty Morphin as their own individual seasons, since they each adapted a different season of Super Sentai. But as I said, I personally believe that 2021 will go back to doing a single series in an entire year, which would be the first time that that's happened since RPM. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again in my later videos.